Hey, it's Soup here with another Necrolord Frost Mage AOE rotation commentary. This video is going to be showing how the Cold Front Legendary interacts with Deathborn, demonstrating the best rotation I've found so far in testing, and sharing something pretty interesting that I discovered about the tier set. If you'd like to be notified when I release Raid and Mage class guides when 9.2 goes live, then make sure to subscribe. As always, keep in mind that all current information is subject to change, but I'm pretty excited about this one, so let's get going. First up is the interaction between Deathborn and the Cold Front Legendary. Cold Front causes every 30th Frostbolt or Flurry cast to also send out a Frozen Orb. The really cool interaction between Deathborn and Cold Front is that Deathborn's Frostbolt Cleave counts as 3 stacks every cast on 3 or more targets, which means you build additional orbs much faster. There is a weird interaction with Deathborn's Frostbolt Cleave where casting Frostbolt with 26, 27, or 28 stacks will proc the Cold Front Orb. This means on 3 or more targets that Deathborn Frostbolts at 28 stacks do not carry one of those Frostbolts over towards the next orb, but Deathborn Frostbolts at 26 stacks proc the orb with 1 less total Frostbolt. Moving on to rotation testing. After testing Cold Front on 4 targets, I found that the DPS outside of Deathborn was roughly the same as the DPS with Slick Ice, but the DPS during the Deathborn ramp has been consistently higher with Cold Front. I also found that the best rotation seems to be using Flurry procs to shatter Frostbolts, the same as with Slick Ice. The main source of damage looks like it comes from lining up Frost Nova with Comet Storm procs because you're going to have more orbs out than you would have otherwise with Slick Ice, plus the tier set damage bonus. I think the way Cold Front interacts with Deathborn is better than Slick Ice in AOE because you don't lose the Cold Front procs when Deathborn ends, but you do lose the Deathborn spell damage that Slick Ice speeds up. I also think that being able to ramp upwards of 15 Cold Front stacks during Deathborn procs makes the playstyle pretty fun and dynamic. Being able to stack Cold Front 3 at a time massively accelerates how fast orbs proc, and testing shows that this leads to a more stable ramp. I also really enjoy the fact that recasting Icy Veins doesn't slow the Cold Front ramp down like it does with resetting Slick Ice stacks. I'm also a big fan of being able to pool Cold Front stacks towards the end of a pull because the buff lasts 30 seconds, so there's more than enough time to avoid losing the stacks. And then something interesting I found out about the tier set is that the Comet Storm proc seems to proc on your target regardless of range, combat, or line of sight. I can see this causing a problem in a dungeon like Halls when you have an orb out on the current pack and you need to poly a Houndmaster pat. If the tier set Comet Storm procs off your orb while targeting the Houndmaster, it will pull that pack despite being out of combat. Alternatively, I can see this working very well in the Maze and Mists for pulling packs through the walls. I haven't had a chance to test this yet, but based on this footage, I can't imagine why it wouldn't work. At first, I thought it was only casting on targets out of combat, but the fact that range and line of sight are bypassed as well is potentially something fun and pretty unique. After testing, I could see Slick Ice being the tyrannical play, or in dungeons with lower trash density like Theater of Pain, and Cold Front as the massive AOE play. Having Slick Ice in dungeons feels pretty great on 1 to 3 targets, but since Cold Front is doing more on 4 targets, it makes sense to me that that DPS gap will only get bigger as pull sizes scale up. Regardless of the legendary, I think the Necro Frost is turning out to be a pretty great playstyle so far. If you want to see how the AOE Slick Ice rotation plays out, then check out this video. Peace!